All right, we're live.
Looks like we're live, so I'm just waiting on my browser to refresh.
Okay, morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to those who are joining us from the US. Yeah, it's only two of us. The other guy, Aldric, is having login problems. So we could start or we wait a little bit more and he can come on. Um, Otherwise, we
Looks
can.
like a lot. Oh, yeah, we have quite a bit of people hopping on right now. Looks like we have already a. Hey, thanks for hopping on. And I'm gonna go ahead and hey, Jeremy, feel free to share it. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I tag you real quick. So.
Oh, right, right. So that everyone who can see my feed knows that I'm live. Not that
Yep.
I know to be anyone on.
Yep. So we're Eldrick is having some technical difficulty.
Thank you, those who have hopped on time. I'm sorry. Yeah, Aldric's having some technical difficulties. Like I mentioned in my post, we do not exactly know what we're doing or what we're trying to do. And it's just a rough start. I thought we were kind of expecting it, but it's okay. We'll get better eventually. Sorry about that. Maybe there are a lot of you guys who are here more for Aldric than me and Kevin. So apologize for that.
Hello, David. How are you doing? Good morning, Ficus. Want to say hi to you.
Oh,
So,
Vikas. Hey, Vikas. Thanks for coming on and supporting me, eh?
David said he's never been on this. So, hey, welcome to a LinkedIn live show. Thanks for
Oh,
joining us.
David.
So,
Yeah, thanks for joining.
yeah, appreciate it. So, I think this is neat. So this is kind of we go kind of introduce ourselves as where kind of East meets West, and I guess right now we're just waiting for
Aldrich,
Eldrick.
come on.
Yep.
Oh,
But
that's
during
fine.
this
I
during
think we
this
can go
time,
ahead.
yep, Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and kind of introduce yourself?
Okay, sure. I didn't think I was going first because we decided we're going to do alphabetical order. So, A comes before J, but I guess that's fine. I can introduce myself first. So, hello everyone. This is Jeremey Sea, your new retail guy. That's how I usually introduce myself in my videos. But today might be slightly different. I'm trying to be myself here as a 40-year-old something guy, salaried man, working in Singapore who has been in an MNC his whole life, doing marketing. I did have like 9 years working experience in China, and yeah, probably one of the most proudest things I've done in my life, in my career, was that 9 years in China. So I guess I do have that kind of a East meets West perspective, because Singapore is sort of like westernized, and China is really the East of all East, the eastest you can go. So yeah, so that's kind of me, the corporate creature, and yeah, happy to be on board. I think yeah, I'm sometimes the MC, the event organizer, the marketing person, the person who does simultaneous translations into Chinese. I guess I'm a bit of everything, but not quite really a master of anything. And I guess this is really a new start for me, getting on LinkedIn Live. You got to try something new, and not regret, right? So for last year, I tried doing videos on LinkedIn covering aspects of retail, sharing, bringing the good word around to, I wouldn't say educate, but really is to show how physical retail is still pretty much okay. And, e-commerce is not taking over. But I'm not so sure about the circumstances now. I do have some videos in the backlog, which I might want to share, but they will be like 6 months ago. Maybe let people feel a little bit nostalgia about where times were slightly better. Who knows? I might still release those. But I guess this year the new thing for me will be LinkedIn Live, and I'm very happy to be having this little chat thing with you, Kevin, and our missing Aldric, who I hope will join soon. So that's a little bit about me. Maybe yeah, you want to talk a bit about yourself? Kevin?
Yeah, that's awesome. So, hello everyone. Looks like David, Vickers, want to just shout out to you guys. Thank you, David, for hopping on as well. David mentioned that Aldric, you look 23 years old. I mean, not Aldric, Jeremy.
Me?
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I'm not sure you have like the beautify filter on. I don't think so. But yeah, maybe I smile a lot. That's why I try to maintain and look more youthful that way. Who knows? That could be the trick to look 20 something when you're 40 something.
Yeah. So, well, I want to introduce myself. So I do a live show in the mornings every Wednesday, called Social Kwok. I am a founder of a digital marketing agency here in the U.S. In Kansas City in the Midwest. So I work with a lot of different companies on how to utilize digital marketing to amplify their brand and to win attention. I do everything from our team does development, we do marketing and production. So what's unique is I was born in Hong Kong. So 我係一個香港人. Yeah. So that's where I was born. And then I moved to US when I was 6 years old. So 6 years old, I moved to the US and immigrated and then adapted to the US culture and then grew up here and went to university and then started my entrepreneur journey and also did my share of corporate life for about probably good 15 years and so done everything from software engineering all the way to project management, led sales teams, and now I own my own company. So I have 2 boys and I'm married and glad to be on board with BottomsUp Perspective. And what's unique is Jeremy, Aldric, and I connected over LinkedIn. And I mean, I was actually just kind of looking for Asians, because I am Asian, to just connect with across the country, to kind of connect with my roots, right? So I was just messaging. I was like, man, the LinkedIn platform, there's a lot of people, influencers that are from all kinds of countries, but I never see much Asians. So I thought, hey, it'll be unique if let's reach out to some people that actually are active on LinkedIn, which is kind of rare for the Chinese or the Singapore or Malaysian, or even you see a little more like Hong Kong and maybe American Chinese people. So, and then I noticed Jeremy and Aldric, they're very active, and they like to voice their opinions on the platform. So that's how we got connected. And then we started just sharing each other's perspectives. And we thought, hey, why don't we, I have the live tool. And I was like, we started talking and I was like, hey, why don't we start this live episode together? Yep.
Oh, wait,
Hey
hold on.
guys.
Aha, the star of the show is on.
So
Nah.
just in
Not really a
time.
star.
Yeah,
So-
just in time. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
finished our basic introduction, although Kevin went a little bit further into his personal life. I still haven't shared those. So I guess it's your turn now, Aldric. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Don't you think that's a little abrupt? Like I just got it.
It's no fault of ours, man. No fault of ours. You had the technical problem.
Yeah, I mean there are technical glitches here and there, but I think that's really the thing that is affecting everyone else now, isn't it? Because this is our only gateway to the world now, like our phones or laptops via the internet connection. So 10 minutes of fiddling with stuff really just pulls my hair out. But anyway, Aldric here. So I'm based in Singapore. Very, very active on LinkedIn. I'm trying to do something for myself. Of course, then it's very nice that when Kevin reached out to me, I was like, it's a crazy idea, but not exactly unmanageable. So that is wonderful. So maybe we should really do something live stream. I've never done it before. It's my first time. So kudos to the both of you for the invitation. And by the way, I think bottoms up perspective is really something that we can all relate, especially now, right? Because just prior to what we mentioned that we should not be mentioning today, we really have a lot of top-down narratives, right? So I think for now we should really focus on the things that matters to us. If the both of you actually remember the first post that I did for all of us, I think the first response that came back was on toilet paper. I've seen that scenario. It played out in Singapore. I think Jeremy is not something that is foreign to you as well. It's starting to be something that is commonplace for Kevin, right? So maybe just a little bit of a context for this bottoms up perspective, and not so much about me, but it's more about us and other people, right? So maybe we can let's start the ball rolling. How's things at where you are, Kevin? Like, is it really just like papers? Or is it more than that? Like, I think you sent us some images on food as well, right? Is there anything else that is like interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's coffee in Singapore, so I hope you have yours.
Awesome. So in the U.S. here, we're definitely we are starting to see the lockdown of the just being home, right? We're all working from home and doing our part to be responsible global citizens. Although some people are not being responsible because I think that there's still this disbelief, right? And in Singapore, you guys are a little ahead of us. And so our government's mandating different things. So we're learning how to work from home. So with me, my schedule in the morning, usually I get my kids ready, different things, and I go straight to work to the office. I drive about 40 minutes, and now it's totally changed. I'm at home and I have a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they make a lot of noise. And then I have to cope with doing everything on Zoom calls, and there's no more face-to-face meetings, right? So it's just different. So I think this is in the U.S., I think, for so long, it's a very comfortable country. You know, this is definitely a huge change for the citizens here, right? Because we're a young country. This is new. A lot of times, I think we have the mentality of we're invincible, that we're going to be okay, and now it's kind of the unknown, right? And then also it challenges businesses, right? The idea of having to innovate and change the way we do business. When restaurants close, different things like that. How do you support these small businesses? Because, we're not talking about maybe a week or 2 weeks. It might be months. So how, as business owners and retail stores and different things like that, how do you survive? And at the end of the day, what are things that really matter, right? And I think this is something we share on a global level. I think we all share the same feelings, the things that we care about. As humans, we care relationships, right? That's why we're here tonight. We all want to be heard. We all have a perspective. And sometimes I think we just look at what's in front of us, right? We look at our community as just the people around us, but the community is actually beyond the borders. Aldric and Jeremey is as part of my community, even though they're thousands of miles away. And I think globally we should start doing that. And I think that's one of the things we talk about when we start first. We did something similar to this among ourselves. We were doing Zoom call, right, with Aldric, Jeremey. And then we were like, why don't we just go live and invite people on global level to join us and share their perspective? Because LinkedIn is a Microsoft platform. It's very US driven right now. It's a young, early social platform that people are hopping on. It's been around for a long time for recruiting and sales, but as a social relationship platform, it's kind of new to the game, right? So a lot of countries haven't really adapted, and so you see a lot of influencers going live and Americans talking about different things. But we thought, hey, how unique would it be if there's like more of a global perspective. And I think that's why we're doing this today. And Jeremey, explain to some of our, we have some U.S. people hopping on. What is bottoms up in Asian culture?
Oh, well, in terms of drinking culture, I think that's something that's common all over the world. But specifically for Asia, when we say bottoms up in terms of drinking, there are a few ways to say it, right? In Chinese Mandarin, we call it ganbei, and then in Japan is I think it's pronounced kanpei, very similar sounding. Korean, I think is gyeonbei or something close to that. So essentially, I think they form the same root word in terms of sounding, because how the culture is quite similar in terms of language in the past, Korean and Japanese and Chinese and all. I think they all were derived from Chinese, and so I wanted to do that word play with our bottoms up perspective, just to give a different word spin pun to it, because that's what I like to do. And so I thought it'd be good to take this bottoms up perspective from another perspective, which is drinking, which in a way is also funny because, it's viewed from the ground, right? We drink bottoms up, business deals are done that way in Asia, more in some places than others. And I thought, it would give some context to what we're trying to do here, which really is, trying to represent the common man, or if not, typical people like yourself, me, Aldric. Yeah, we have very diverse backgrounds, and I think, to be honest, I thought the two of you talked me into this, right? I keep saying, hey guys, I don't even have that many followers. You have like 5 digits. Aldric has what, 8,000, and and I spoke to you a little bit earlier. I say, hey, I'm really actually the sideshow here, not the star. I'm just trying to give my perspective and see whatever I can offer from my point of view. So I guess that's what this whole bottoms up perspective, you can call it initiative, you can call it a movement, means to me. I think at the end of the day, I hope whatever the three of us talk about adds some value or gives us different perspective or spin to help whoever's spending the time watching us talk. And in time to come, maybe when we really get this going, we could probably ask other people to come on live as well. Just have that experience of going live, say hello to the world, and share your perspective. I think this is a good avenue and channel, something we're trying to create. To really give that avenue for people to say what they want to say, be it how small or how ordinary you think you might be. I'm sure everyone has a certain perspective they like to share, and hence, I thought that was what we agreed on doing. We hope to be able to, give some value back to society. I mean, especially in this trying times of doom and gloom. And yeah, I was the one who said, let's not talk about that C word. I think everyone's probably sick of it. I am, because, past 2-3 months, we're ahead of the curve. So let's not talk about that. If people want to know more about that, they got other media avenue channel. So I guess, I think if we are agreeable, we try to, this is the first episode. I thought we let people know who we are, what we want to do, and lend some perspective to other people why we're doing this. And hopefully, once we turn this to get this going, weekly, we will try and put some topics that we can talk about. This is what this means to me.
Yep. I have some questions that people are commenting. So Chad Huss asked us, how do you take care of employees to stay healthy and take care of financial needs, right? So who like to answer?
I'll talk about the financial needs first.
Yep.
I think when it's today, if we are talking about financial needs today, it's a little too late. Let me put it this way. When it comes to financial needs, right, we basically think of our livelihood. We think about the way we get ourselves moving, right? So we think about taking care of our family. We think of putting food on the table. It's all predicated on transactions. So basically, to get the transaction going, you need like it's just two things, one or the other, or probably a combination of both. One is income, which is in cash, and the other one is in credit, right? And in times like this, if I know we are all sick about whatever that's going through the mainstream media, but for me, I follow Bloomberg and CNBC quite a bit, financial news and things that credit is drying up, right? So if you really look at the revisions of your effective interest rate now on your credit cards, you could be already facing a raise in terms of the premiums, which means that your interest rates are going up. So if you are in a privileged position today to really choose between cash or credit card, I think the better position is really to use cash for transactions. That's one. However, the other perspective is going to be very interesting, right? We are all paranoid with personal hygiene. If you are, and you're worried about taking cash from somebody's hands, right? Then you should use the credit card and not think about the credit card premiums, right? So from my perspective, it's not a direct yes or no. It's really a matter of perspective, right? As far as I'm concerned, I'm not thinking too much about cash versus credit for now. I'm concerned about minimizing my touch points, so I'll be using the card. And by the way, I'm not going to do any signing, or I'm not going to do any whatever, not the signature, you know. I'm just going to ask if you can allow me to wave. So I don't even need to touch the machine, like beep, and I'm gone. So I think that's the way to do it, if you ask me. It's just my perspective. That's on the financial perspective. Employees-wise, I think if I backtrack, how things actually unfold today, there are stages, right? And APAC, Singapore being very unfortunate, I think we are pretty much at the forefront. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. We are like second. We're the second one. Are we?
We are in the initial days, we are the most affected out of China, right? During the
we are the second one, right? So we have I mean, yeah, we are fortunate and unfortunate to be able to watch from the front row seat. And I think for now, when we talk about that there are mature ways of actually getting people to take care of themselves, whether we are getting to office or whether we are functioning from home, right? In fact, I think for us here, especially where Jeremy and I am, we might actually be a lot safer to be working in office already because of all the sanitization and things like that, right? So sometimes we need to be a little flexible. Probably 2 weeks ago, it's a lot better to function remotely. I think now it could be a lot better to just be in office, because then this is the opportune time to actually sanitize our homes, and then we are functioning from office. So it's a matter of flexibility. If you ask me, that's really my perspective. So segue to Jeremy. Go on.
Yeah, maybe I can't really talk about the financial part. I'm not so good financially. You know, I'm a marketing guy. There's a reason why I'm better with words and pictures and not numbers. So, but I can talk a little bit about the employee part, right? Because I'm the corporate creature here, right? Still working in MNC and all. So I can talk a little bit about just sharing what the company is doing, my company is doing. So we have been practicing, business continuity planning, which means we rotate weekly. We split the entire team into Team A and Team B. So Team A works from home 1 week and comes to office the other week. So this week's my work from office week. So that's why I'm dressed in long sleeve shirt at home. I could go to the office after this. And I quite enjoy going to the office, actually, though it's an hour commute, because I'm very physical. I need to talk to people face to face. So that's kind of some of the measures that we're doing in the office to take care of our employees. And I think more importantly, it's really the communications, from the leaders, be it on global level, regional level, office level, even in small teams, like, I have a team of 3 or 4 people, to really continue to communicate to them. I think empower them, right? And give them the trust that if they're working from home, they would still be productive, and they will still, try and do the right thing the right way, and go from there. We just really need especially in these times, to give people benefit of the doubt. Let people know that they should still contribute in whatever way they can, despite businesses closing. Retail is most impacted. Despite all this, right? I think communication is really important, and really up to the individual, really also to take care of yourself. For example, I have colleagues who told me like, last week when I was working from home, because I saved time on commuting, I actually have time to, take a walk in the evenings, which is great, right? You need to do something for yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your health, even more so than previously. Yeah, and some might be more awkward working from home because, having like I have children around, and probably in the mornings, it's a little bit more sane because they're in school. Yeah, but it's school holidays this week, so my daughter's around, most part of the day. Yeah, they're 10 and 6, by the way. And so some people are okay working from home. Some people are not so much. And really, we need to consider that balance, and taking care of yourself. That's your own responsibility. I mean, not the responsibility of the company. The company has every right to ensure that your surroundings are clean. Well, be it building management or the company employees, basic hygiene is observed. And we even had a case that is in the same office building where I worked. So there was a bit of a scare. But it was pretty well contained. I don't think there was any new cases clustered from there, especially from my office, because we're like one level above. Yeah, but there are some others that were affected. So I guess I hope I've sort of answered that question on employees, right?
I think you did. You had a very good response from the employee's perspective. But before we actually get away, the person that should really be replying is the host of the show, because he's the one that's running the show, right? So before we segue into the list of comments, right? Maybe Kevin, just have a closing shot on.
So here's my thought, right? So in regards to
how and what do you think about the how do you think about taking care of the welfare of the people with you?
Yes.
Because I think about things this way, right? Because we all work with each other. We don't really work for someone. So as from your perspective, how do you take care of the people in your digital agency?
So I think
just as a closing shot.
So we're a unique agency. So we have a staff in the US about 6, and then in the Philippines we have easily we have a team of about 20 people out there as well. So I think it's being able to manage the culture from a global level, right? Because we don't just have people in the United States, and things are happening so fast, and every culture is different, right? But I think one of the things is keeping your employees' morale up, right? Where I think in this day and age, hope is so important to just for them to know that, hey, there's hope, and just being able to balance communication by utilizing tools. So at J29 being a digital marketing agency, we use a lot of project management software tools. We utilize Skype. We utilize Zoom calls, where we still have our meetings, so people still feel like, hey, we're still a part of, the company, and there's still activities going on, And sometimes we even talk to each other where it's more lighthearted, So we ask our global employees and even our employees at home, hey, what are you doing that is fun while you're at home? Or take a picture of what you're doing right now, and it might be they have a kid bothering them, or they're walking a dog, So that is a little more, it takes your mind off the pandemic that's happening. I think culture is so important in a company, and being understanding too. No one wants this to happen. No one asks for it. So if you're underneath good leadership, I think they need to understand that what's the most important thing? Is it your job? So I think it's the perspective. We have to change our perspective. So in 2008, I own a business at the time too, and I took an economic downturn, right, in '08 when the stock market fell, and I lost my business. I was actually in partnership with my father, and at the same time, he ended up diagnosed with cancer, and I lost my father all within a year, right? So I ended up taking a bankruptcy, and I lost everything. So I had $1,000 in the bank, you know, and this goes into the financial part, right?
Yep.
Okay. When we talk about how do you handle finances, right? You don't wait till when there's a storm. You know, we have to start managing. Don't live beyond your means, right? But at the end of the day, your wealth
Are
is
you
not.
American? Are you really American? Like,
Credit culture's big there.
Yeah, it's
like,
different, right?
okay, but okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, but so you have to remember your wealth is not in how much you have, your net worth, right? Your wealth is actually in your relationships, your capabilities, who you are, what you're capable of, right? You can make money again. I have $1,000 in the bank, you know, and today I own another company. Did it take time? Did it take work? Yes, you know, it took over a decade for me to rebuild, right? But that's something people have to understand. There's nothing to fear, because if you value yourself and the tools you have, you know, your brain, these are things that no virus, nothing can take away from you, only if you die. Okay? As long as you have that last breath, hope, you're able to turn things around. You know, money is, opportunities are always there to be made. Especially most millionaires are made during in times of crisis, right? On a global level, you know. So I think it's changing our perspective and understanding, hey, it's not so bad, but the things that you really need to care about is your relationships, your loved ones. How do you keep them healthy? You know, there's things you can't buy back. You can't buy back time. I can never see my father again, right? But everything else, if you change that perspective, it just takes work, you know, and seeing the opportunity, and things can change for you. So that's my input.
Kevin, did any question coming asking how much money you have in the bank now?
Oh, I have no idea. It's probably dropped a lot.
In assets or cash flow, right?
Yeah.
No, but I think the point that you made could be a perfect segue to a topic that all of us would want to go to, right? Which is we always, okay. So just to be a little cliche, I mean, like Chinese teachings, we always say that in crisis there are opportunities and the reverse. Today, right? I mean, if we are really talking about getting setbacks, and we are trying to be more self-aware, and we try to look around, right? I think you made a very good principle observation based on your life experience, Kevin, that don't think too much about the money, especially when you don't have any. Don't worry about it. You already don't have it. You don't have it to begin with, right? So the thing is, I think sometimes we need to take a step back. Really, just journaling. I'm a proponent of like thinking time, my thinking time zone, just journaling. If you really want to accumulate wealth, not just for yourself or for selfish reasons, but if it's for your next generation or it's because of philanthropic purposes, I think that's fine. But mechanically, it's not about the money. We are missing that step. I think a lot of us are missing that step because the money is behind the people. You can't find money. It doesn't drop from the sky. We can't dig from the ground. You know, I mean, occasionally you get to pick up like $50 on the floor. That's about it, right? But if you're relying on that, we are not going anywhere. Right? So if we are really thinking about accumulating wealth for good purposes, we are thinking about, you know, how we can add value to other people. It's always about the people. That's the number one principle. It's not about, I'm not even talking about mechanics yet, but if you think about it today, and if you hang on to that principle, then where are the people? I think Jeremy did a very good post yesterday, but the message was the message that I read wasn't so much about the crowd in the train or the public commute. It's a lot more on, hey, there's not many people in the trains, but even if they are, they're not looking at each other. They're not looking at the physical environment. Everyone, I mean, for sure, you took a low. You took a low angle shot. I'm sure you're trying to shoot someone in a short skirt. But anyway, I'm not going there. No. I'm not going there. No, but my point is first, servicing people is very important. Second thing is we need to know where they are, right? Especially today, we are in a tug of war of sorts between the physical environment and the digital one. But given what we're experiencing today, it is likely that the digital environment is going to take off probably geometrically, and then it will have a life of its own. So I think that's the way to go. This is the perfect time to build it. Not to say that it's going to be late 1 year later, 2 years later. It's just that now is a very good foundation because everyone is on it. Not by choice. We have to get things going, right?
Yep.
Economic growth predicates upon movement. People can't move now. Businesses can't move now. Planes can't fly. Buses are in problems. And we are all stuck. So the only thing that allows us to generate growth today are things that can move, right? So our only gateway or portal to the rest of the world is exactly what I'm staring at now, which is my phone, right? So voice moves, messages moves, content move, right? We have to find a way. This is no longer a time where we can say that, oh, you guys are such a social media addict. You guys don't know, you don't have a life, you don't know what life is all about. Yeah. Now when there's no physical life, you should better have a digital life. That's what I think. It's just a way of segueing to one of the topics that we really want to talk about, which is opportunities, right? This is really the time. Even if we're not doing anything, this is the perfect time to observe, because I can see that there's a lot more people that's very active out of the blue. Not that it's planned for.
Now, I like to speak to that a little bit because in my world, in my space, physical events are being cancelled. We used to do like exhibitions and things like that. Everything's going online, and you're right. Aldric, everyone is forced to be online. There is no choice, and I find this is really a little bit ironic in the sense that because of what's happening, it really does bring other people a little bit closer together, just like the three of us. This probably couldn't have happened, or we wouldn't even be pushed to want to do something like this if everything was still fine and dandy. So there's actually definitely a shift. I think the biggest question now really is post this whole C thing. What's the new world going to look like? What's the new norm? Because once this gets into like a 6 months, a year period, people probably would have been very used to, or this become the new norm, going online and looking at each other and speaking, discussing, having big meetings online. And then you're going to question, so what's going to, from a corporate perspective, right? So what justifies you taking a trip down to, this other country for a face-to-face meeting when you've been doing, you've been as effective, probably, things to get going for the past 6 months when you're doing online. So big question there. So is hospitality and airlines going to recover? Are the business travelers going to come back? Yes, I think there might be a big spike for initial while, because honestly, come on, cabin fever sets in, We can't always be doing this online. There's probably going to be a spike. But, that at the back of the head, there's always still that thought, to whoever's up there, the CFO that's approving all the trips flying from point A to point B, is it really necessary? Because, in the past, when it's encouraged that you do virtual stuff, but, in our own company's travel policy, you're supposed to fill in this form and you're going to say that, yes, it's necessary because we can't do it offline, blah, blah, blah. You're going to make all this declaration. It goes to an approval process. So now this approval process becomes really, it breathes a different life now after what has happened, because you really have to question twice. Hey, you've been doing this the past 6 months. Why do you need to go now, right? Because this is the norm. It used to be the norm that, yeah, I want to fly there. I have to meet the customer face to face. But with all this explosion of online possibilities, where's the reason? Where's the justification?
I think with all the things changing, it allows companies to really look at being able to innovate, and change the way they do things. Because used to, from a digital marketing agency standpoint, is hey, if we don't need a change, then we don't need a change, right? Why spend the budget, right? And there's a very big brands out there that they aren't impacted, right, by the digital age. And it's like I tell people, when you don't innovate, you die like a slow death, right? Kind of like Payless Shoes, Toys R Us, before they know it, they're already bankrupt. They don't even know it. It's like slow death. And I think because of the pandemic, the opportunities are there, right? And things are changing. The way we live is being challenged. And as humans, I think we're very, we can adapt. That's what separates us from animals. You know, we're able to adapt and use our brain and change. And I think we need to adapt to the way we do business in the future, right? And I think so much times we still think, if we're a smaller business, mom and pop shop, or we're still looking at the local level, right? But how can we do it a global level? And there's big brands that's done very well, right? Who would have think a cup of coffee would become an international phenomena, and now we have Starbucks, right? They're everywhere, and it all started with a cup of coffee, right? And so I think we need to start, I think, during these times, there's a lot of opportunities. And I think as human beings, we have to see, it's like I talked to Aldric on a Zoom call last time we had our group chat, right? The cost of all these items is zero, right?
Yeah.
Social media doesn't cost anything. If you're not running ads, the cost is your time. Being able to do it, right? The tools are there. It's a free software tool, and you have to put the content in, and you just have to do it. And what better time to do it when you're stuck at home, right? Yeah. So
That's why we're doing it.
yep. And looks like we got actually even more people joining. So yeah.
That's
so
great.
yeah, that's awesome. So hey,
Come
just
on,
want to say hi everyone. Thanks for liking it, and we're just sharing our perspective. So yeah.
curate some comments for our content. I think that would be great from them.
Yeah, let's see here. Moving business schools are trying to move to digital now. Everyone has a story. Thanks for sharing. So Vika said everyone has a story, and he thanked us for all sharing. Chad also, yeah. So Chad also mentioned that right now schools education is moving online. So that's a good topic. Aldric, what do you think of that? How Singapore and Asia countries is schools moving online?
I think when we think about education and online, we need to think about two separate clusters, right? I think when it comes to the conventional knowledge, we can go online for better engagement and entertainment value, because we get exposures from different people that is passing down the knowledge, the same knowledge. For instance, like I can count how many teachers I had that really make an impact on my life, like serious ones, like maybe just this palm, and that's it. So going online, it's I will say this: it's not something novel. If you look at the current generation that's going to graduate, I believe they grew up with YouTube. You mean when they have issues with homework, they are not going to type a search on Google or YouTube to actually find if there's any kind of content that's relevant to their studies? I think the answer is no. So it has always been there. So that's the online platform, right? And there's a lot of free content that are basic. By basic, what do I mean? If you have issues with algebra, right? You go online, you go YouTube and whatsoever. There's gonna be all sorts of gurus that's gonna put up free content to teach you how to do algebra, differentiation, calculus, integration. There will be. The only issue is if you can't solve a particular problem, the free contents can't help you. They can't, because if we are all content producers, where we produce from our perspective. I can't read your mind. Like, okay, so you have this problem, therefore I'm posting this solution. No, you can't. So the thing is, we still need healthy combination. Yes, when it comes to understanding the content, the knowledge, we have all sorts of avenues today. But if you have a specific issue, we still need to reach out. Try reaching out to an influencer for your homework problem. Never fly, mate. Never fly, right? So that's one way of thinking. That's one way of thinking between the physical education, being physically present as an education model versus online, right? Of course, I'm simplifying, but I think I'm not too far off. The other one is really to think about the different types of education, right? Physical education online won't fly, mate. You want to be an Olympian? You probably have to be at the tracks. You probably still need a coach. You probably still need someone to correct your form, to time you, to be more accountable. We still need that in some ways. But yes, I can see that the dependence on the traditional education model will be reduced, but it won't be zero. It won't be. So this is just my perspective, right? I learned a lot of things online, truth be told. But if you really want to get to the next stage, to be a master, to be a guru, you need proximity. By proximity, what do I really mean? The mentor should be beside you, so you can learn as he does. You can't get that online. You can't.
I agree.
My perspective.
Yep. What
Jeremy?
about Jeremy?
It's very easy, right?
I don't think so, but okay.
Easy question. If you look at Singapore particularly, right? There's a reason why Singapore is called Tuition Nation. Enrichment classes, all these are done physically. You just cannot replicate that kind of a personal teaching, the teacher next to explaining things to you. And I guess it also depends on how you define education, right? If education, it's about submitting an answer and getting the answer correct. Yeah, you can do everything online, for sure. But it's about how you are being taught to arrive at the correct answer, or even getting a wrong answer and having someone tell you why that is wrong. That can't be done online, I think, at least not mechanically or electronically, or with even AI. I don't know, I'm not sure. But you need that human element. It's kind of like the same thing with retail, right? Physical retail will not go away because humans are social creatures. We need that physical presence, physical touch, interaction, to learn better. Otherwise, why have offices?
Yep. And I think as humans, it's exactly like Jeremy said, is that that's what we're designed for, relationships. And that's why we're talking to each other today. And that's why people are hopping on. That's something we crave and we hunger for, right? And I think that's always going to be there. And if all your kids just started doing online learning, I don't think you get that element, right? Yeah. So, and that's why I think parenting is almost saying, like, can you do parenting just online? So put it in that perspective. That's not possible. And who do we learn from the most, right? It's our parents. At the end of the day, I don't care on a global level, you know, not American or Chinese or whatever. We all learn the most from our parents, our father and mother. The way we're raised is scientific proven, you know.
Yep.
The moment we're born, we're influenced the most. They even did a religious study, right? How majority of people, humans, view God like they view their parents, you know. And I think that's something to really think about. The perspective is understanding that there are things that, and I'm a technology guy. I don't think technology can ever replace, right? Yeah.
Can I just share something and sort of round this off, because we are close to the hour, and I got a job to keep. I just want to piece everything together, right? Because you sparked off something when you said that, Kevin. You sparked off something when you say that, you know, you can't do parenting online and all that. And I want to tie that a little bit, you know, relationships and all that. I want to tie that a little bit to why we're doing this, or even try to convince some of us who are thinking about, should I do something video online? Should I do live chat? You know, I think one of the more morbid or unsaid motivation for me really is think of this digital channel as a way to immortalize yourself, perhaps. From the digital videos I shoot, even if this live thing, you know, next time we record it and put it on YouTube or something, you know, the day I'm gone, this is the only evidence of me existing to my children. They can still see me in my videos, or maybe even have some inkling on how I think, how I express myself, learn from there. You know, who knows, you know, I might be gone tomorrow. We never know. But there's some for me left for them to hang on to. I don't know. Maybe I could impart something with this bottoms-up perspective, you know, share with them some form of thinking without, you know, and without shoving it into down their throats, you know. Maybe a way of persuasiveness, you know, if they want to find out more about me if I go away one day. That's could be another reason for you guys to get online, for those who are still considering. I don't know. That's my perspective here. Personal perspective.
Yep.
Maybe Kevin, we can pick up one final comment. We just do a closing on that, and then we should plan for the next one, right?
Yeah. So it seemed like Jacqueline hop on here, and then also Carolyn Hong, she hopped on here, and she said, what do you think of how new graduates should cope with this environment?
Wow. Go on first, Jeremy.
Hold on, I just want to clarify something. It's interesting that people are asking us questions as though we are experts. I just want to clarify, we are by no means experts, but we try to share our perspective, and hopefully that brings sort of a new take, or you can look at things differently, right?
I sort of disagree. Our combined age is about 110 years old. I think when it comes to society, there's a lot that we know, but as we pass on through conversations, that healthy dose of humility needs to be there, simply because our life experience isn't enough for us to know how humanity has evolved. But where we are today, we have definitely seen paradigm shifts. So go ahead, Jeremy. Then I'll do my part.
Sorry, what's the question again? New graduates, how they gonna move on?
How they gonna cope?
So how do new graduates to cope with this environment?
Environment. Don't even talk about new graduates, right? People who are working right now, you know, like retail sector, people are getting let go. That's a really good question, because I believe this question is probably more pronounced in places like India, China, for example. There are millions of new graduates going to the workplace every year, and it's always a challenge to create new jobs, to fulfill, you know, to give everyone to let everyone be suitably employed and contributing to society. How do new graduates? I think really, you got to start somewhere. I would advise, even though more than 2 years ago I was not a believer of LinkedIn, but I've embraced it since. I do think that it's really a world whereby you need to be visible. If you're a new grad and if you've not started anything on LinkedIn, please do. and I tell you why. Like what Kevin has said, right? Whatever that's in your head belongs to you. It only disappears when you die. But consider it this way. I always tell people, what is it that you do that belongs to you? What really belongs to you, right? To me, there are like four things. Your education, your and experiences. Is that four? That could be two. Your education experience, your family belongs to you, or sort of, until they, set up their own family. Your health belongs to you. Your health belongs to you. And sorry, I said education, experience, family, and health. Yeah, that's four. These four things belong to you. So in terms of work, right, what's relevant is really your experience and your education. And how do people know that? It belongs to you. You got to put it somewhere. If you put it on LinkedIn, it's there forever. It goes with you no matter which company you go to. Of course, unless LinkedIn goes bankrupt and it's taken online or offline, or some asteroid hit all the servers and everything's gone. But before that happens, those are what belongs to you, which is why I embraced LinkedIn. It goes with me wherever I go. Whatever I put up there, I'm building a trail of my experience, my thoughts, my I wouldn't say education, but resumes and things like that. Certifications are there. What I've been through, conferences I attend. What are my thoughts? I think new graduates should embrace LinkedIn, not because it's where you can look for jobs or where people look for you, but really more of having that continuity, leaving that trail for people to follow up and have an idea of who you are. And that's my take. You got to start somewhere, and it's probably where LinkedIn or any other social platform, when you put yourself out there, then you can really show people how different you are or what kind of a value you can contribute to people. And you never know who's watching, right? You never know who's looking, what they're looking out for. You might think you're an odd job or a gig or a weirdo, but still, there might be some area that you're not sure that somebody might want that strength in you, what you're good at. So we won't know until you show people they're good at something. So I think that's why a lot of people are taking on to social media. And I think, for new grads, that will be, to me, the first step. Yeah, that will be the first step.
Okay. I'll just add on. I think, Kevin, Carolyn Hong, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she attended my webinar. So I have to construct a response that is unique, and I'm not sounding like a broken recorder. So I'm going to go with this. Every year is a year of new opportunities, but we need to be self-aware, right? There are two ways in which I think about it, and I think about it all the time. I guess it's just in a subconscious. One is competition. Somehow, if you have to compete, you need to stand out, right? So therein goes into my favorite topic, which is whether it's a real standout or a perceived one. Your presence online and your personal branding is very important, because just go search. If your profile is one of the millions, the billions, the trillions, or the gazillions, you're not going anywhere. So that's the first thing. And I've repeated this many times. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Second thing is, today, as we speak, starting a business has never been so cheap. Has never been so cheap. I'm not saying easy. It's never easy, because when you have a business, it means that you have a proven model of solving people's problems, and that takes time. But in order to kickstart that process today, as Kevin has rightly recorded our conversation via Zoom the last round, the cost of advertising, marketing, business development, and probably reaching out to prospects and lead conversion is now this. So if you're not doing something for yourself, that's completely fine. But do take note, as with different stages of our evolution, right? Today, we sit in a stage of a human evolution where our phones and social media are so prevalent, no one is off. One day, this golden age, as per the various dynasties, imperialism, whatever nonsense that you can think of, it will go away. It will go away. So then are you going to create content 10 years later? I don't know. I mean, like maybe 2 years, 3 years down, the best thing to do is voice. Maybe, I'm not sure. Could be, right? Could be videos, not so much text content or images anymore, no longer static, right? Could be AI, or it could be something that is invented by a 15-year-old that is in Fiji or Mauritius now. You never know, because when such things catch on, they usually roll very, very quickly, right? So we need to be very self-aware of how we are as a society today and what we are dependent on. So for fresh graduates, I think my parting shot is very simple. If you're always thinking about resume, CV, interviews, securing a job, you are pigeonholed into one alternative in life. It's just one. It's just one. No one is stopping you from starting something on the side. Why can't you? And the thing is, the beauty of this, no one gives you the permission. You have to do it until someone tells you that's illegal, right? I guess by and large, a lot of things are out of creativity. And it's like what we're doing today, right? Bottoms-up perspective. Live chat, yeah, a lot. Are we jumping on a bandwagon? Yes. Are we early? Sort of, but maybe we can do something for ourselves, and we shouldn't shy away from it, especially when the three of us are like 100+ years old already, right? So that's what I think. Go ahead and give it a try, because if you're worried about the financials, if you're worried about the capital these days, nah. And as a parting shot, final one, I promise, interest rates are at 5,000-year low. Guys, come on. You know, I know. Our parents taught us, don't borrow, don't get into debt. You know, don't jeopardize the family and things like that. But remind me, Kevin. You know, what did J. Powell do? Is it zero interest rates now? Like zero? Like zero? So get a perspective sometimes. Zero base rate, probably at the loan rate is probably about 2 to 3%. Think about it. If you can create a business that has a margin that's greater than 2 or 3%, why are you worrying about 2 or 3%? Do it.
Student loans, man. Student loans.
I'm taking care of the people in the East. Probably. I don't know. I mean, like it also boils down to competence. In a way, if you're confident that your business can generate margins, gross or net, whatever, that's of north of 10%, right? You shouldn't be worried about 2 to 3. At least that's my perspective. That's my perspective. Yep. Go ahead and close it, Kevin.
I guess I'll close it. So regards to new graduates, right? So I am kind of unlucky because I think when I graduated college, it was around 2001 or 2002. So in the U.S., we hit another financial crisis. And my parents, they're Asian parents. So even in the States, it wasn't always about passion. It's about, hey, what makes money? Okay.
Yep.
So you need to be an engineer, doctor, or a lawyer. Okay. Yeah. And then so I was like, okay, I wanted to be a doctor until I took my advanced science classes, like chemistry and physics. And I was like, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. And then so I decided, hey, it's the .com era, okay? Computer, internet. And I was like, hey, I can utilize the computer even in the hospital. So why don't I be a software guy? And then right when I was about to graduate, the market took a downturn.
Yeah, the dot bombs.
Maybe I'm bad luck. Okay, the bubble blew, right? So I graduated when everyone else was going back into school, right? Master's degree, because there wasn't jobs, so it was a challenge. But then I look back today, right? When you're graduating in a time of uncertainty, you got to remember this, okay? The first thing, I want to tell you as a young person is really when you're graduating, you have to value self-worth. I think a lot of young people don't value themselves, because right now, hey, I haven't done work much. I don't have much job experience. I don't have much skill sets that I've developed. So there's a lack of confidence, with new graduates, But you can develop self-worth, know that, hey, you're special, there's things about you that separates you from everyone else, right? And nowadays you have these social media, like Aldric said, you can build a personal brand, but you don't have to wait till you graduate college. You can start building your personal brand. Nowadays, there's TikTok, there's different things, to start building your personal brand, right? Just put yourself out there, maybe you can dance. I don't know, maybe you have some kind of talent, right?
Yeah.
Don't make a fool of yourself though. Okay. That might hurt you on the job market.
Yeah.
But I think you have to figure out what your voice is and really being able to amplify that voice, because I am a firm believer your network is your net worth, in today's attention economy. Because I look back today, even when I was unemployed, when I had my bankruptcy, when I was working at a fast food restaurant, okay, trying to rebuild myself, it was my network, the people I met, throughout the relationships I built. I've been on LinkedIn since 2002.
Wow.
And I remember there was people that used to be my boss that later ended up me being their boss. Things can change just like that. You never know, and never be too prideful, never burn bridges as a young person. And eventually those relationships matter, because you don't know. Today, I might be an entrepreneur. Tomorrow, I might be begging one of you for a job. Who knows? You never know, right? And I think that's so important. It's the right perspective. No one stays on top all the time. Things change, but value yourself as a new graduate and start focusing on building your relationships, because your relationships, they matter so much. And that's why personal branding is so big, because people, when it comes to the relationship game, right? It goes both ways. People choose to like you or not like you. And now you have social media. When you start speaking your voice, the people that are on here right now, they're choosing to listen to these three goofballs. Okay? Right? They don't have to, right? Because
Okay.
maybe there's something they either like us, or they felt relationship with us, or connected with us. And that's the beauty of social media. You have to start building your tribe. That's why I call it like your people. Not and in relationship, not everyone's gonna love you. There's gonna be people go, oh man, that bottoms up perspective is so stupid. What are those guys talking about, right?
Thank
And
you.
but that's
Because
okay. It's
yeah,
fine, right? Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
Because
why I like to close with. So
you have to use us to shit on us. So thank you. Go ahead.
yep. So,
We are into marketing to begin with, but anyway, go ahead for the closure, Kevin. Go ahead.
yeah. So hey, we gonna start doing this on a weekly basis. So next week, I think, Jeremy, we go do it the US time, right? In the
Yep.
morning,
I
and we're
think
gonna flip it.
it's a plan,
And
right?
yeah. And
We want to set a topic. Do we want to set a topic?
yeah, so I am open. So let's let our viewers set the topic. So if you guys like to comment below what you like us to talk about, we love to. I'm sure we'll still be home. So yeah. So we have a lot of time to talk. So,
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's go with that approach.
All right.
Yeah. So watch out for our promo, on LinkedIn, and we'll keep you guys informed. And thanks all those who joined us today.
Stay
You
tuned.
made a choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much. See you guys next week.
See you guys. Bye.
See you guys.